my name's David Landini and I'm here on a beautiful day in Hyde Park in Sydney, and I'm here with Rachel Carling, the Chief Executive Officer of the New South Wales Right to Life Association. Good morning, Rachel.
Good morning, David. Lovely day to be out.
It's a beautiful day.
It is.
And we have the fountain in the background. It's a beautiful day in Sydney. Rachel, we're here today to talk about a few issues, but mainly the recent legislation that was passed in the New South Wales Parliament, the Abortion Law Reform Act, which effectively removed any protection and all protection from ourselves at that stage of our lives in our mother's womb. That is one of the most radical pieces of legislation, not only in Australia but in the whole world. And Rachel and I will discuss that and other issues that we may think relevant. So, Rachel, can you just give a brief description of yourself and the New South Wales Right to Life Association and what you do?
Sure, David. So I moved to New South Wales from Victoria, and when I was in Victoria I was a Member of Parliament for a little while, and I moved here about 10 days before the campaign really started. So we were aware that an abortion bill would be coming here in New South Wales. We just weren't aware that it was going to be quite as quick as it was. So I moved here, and all of a sudden we had this huge campaign where New South Wales Parliament introduced this bill. It was introduced by an independent member for Sydney, Alex Greenwich, and 15 co-sponsors from across the broad spectrum of political parties here in New South Wales, with the notable exceptions, of course, of One Nation and the Christian Democratic Party and the Shooters, Fishers and Farmers Party.
Yep.
They didn't buy in to the co-sponsoring of this bill. So this bill was supposed to be rushed through Parliament within 3 days. That was the intent. They thought they would surprise us all and rush it through. But the pro-life movement here in New South Wales, I must say I'm really proud of my new community, because they came out in their thousands, literally in their thousands. So it wasn't that long ago that we stood here in Hyde Park. There were 10,000 of us gathered here in Hyde Park to stand against the bill. And that sent a really strong message that this bill may have been passed, but it was not passed in our name.
Do you think, Rachel, that this bill represents the general will of the people in Sydney and the people throughout New South Wales?
Absolutely not. In fact, I think that people in New South Wales were absolutely appalled when they found out exactly what this bill contained. That it was an extreme abortion to birth bill.
Yep.
And while there was a lot of spin from the other side about compassion and choice and decriminalisation and not hurting women, we actually were very effective in getting our message out that we're actually there to protect women, that we're there to protect the babies in their womb and to value motherhood and to value fatherhood. And I think that's a message that people in New South Wales... sorry, this about fell over. I get very excited. People in New South Wales were really appalled that we were trying to hurt women and hurt fathers, and ultimately to take away the lives of babies, healthy babies, even babies with disabilities, right up to birth.
Right up to birth. That's, I'm sure that the people in New South Wales and the vast majority of people throughout the country areas of New South Wales, particularly the Riverina, would certainly believe that is not an expression of their will, not in any way, shape or form.
I think you're right there, David.
Yeah. There's been a lot of research, Rachel, as time has gone on, into the biology of human life. In earlier years, back in the 60s and 70s and so forth, there was a lot of confusion about human life. When does human life begin? What happens within a mother's womb and so forth. But with the improvements of biology, we know certainly now that life certainly starts at conception. There's no other point of our range or spectrum of our life that it starts. It starts at conception, and even at 8 weeks after conception, all our body parts are in place. And after 8 weeks, all we do is grow. So, and I think as time's gone on, a lot more people realise that, and that is the truth. And I think that would contribute to the general opinion that this recent legislation does not represent the will of the people of New South Wales or Riverina. Would you comment on that, Rachel?
I completely agree with you there, David. And to add to that, one of the most powerful chants that we had, because we set up vigil outside Parliament House, and the chants could be heard very clearly in Parliament House while the debate was happening. And a couple of the things that were really effective was, say, we were talking about my heart beats at 16 days.
16 days?
My heart beats at 16 days. And that resonated throughout the entire house. We also had a rally in Martin Place where we did a live heartbeat.
Really?
On a lady who was pregnant, and we had the ultrasound equipment and a live heartbeat, and that was heard right in the ministerial offices, which is at the back of Parliament House.
Really?
And that was so effective in showing the humanity of the unborn. That we are simply talking about children that haven't been born yet.
Yep, that's right. And Rachel, as time has gone on, there's also, this is a very, very sensitive subject, there's absolutely no doubt about it, and everybody, Rachel, myself and the whole community in New South Wales and the Riverina, want what is best for all parties involved. But away from that a little bit, Rachel and I were briefly discussing, there's a lot of harm, a lot of hurt in the community from this, what has happened in the past. Not only there's women that are traumatically, emotionally affected by this issue, but also men, Rachel, who are, there's a huge amount of suffering in the community that's been caused by this issue.
There is, absolutely. It's a terrible thing to hold that grief in and not have an expression for it. So we call it post-abortion grief, and it can occur for mothers and for fathers, and even for grandparents. There are many grandparents that have come to me and said they had no say either. And they've lost the ability to cherish their own grandchildren because of abortion. We know from a lot of studies that women are more likely to have suicide ideation and substance abuse and other emotional problems and physical problems as a result of abortion. We don't do a lot of study into men, and I think that's very unfortunate because it certainly is a condition that psychiatrists tell me post-abortion grief is really real for men. And I think one of the problems we have in our society is we do not value fatherhood, and therefore fathers don't get a say. When they do want to cherish their baby, they don't get a say, and that's really sad.
Yeah, and I think Rachel, I forgot to mention that Rachel has a PhD in disability studies some 20 years ago, and Rachel is very familiar with a lot of the things that, a lot of the emotional effects that and physical effects of human life in general. Rachel, just quickly then, the New South Wales Right to Life. What's the future, Rachel? What's the plans?
Well, Right to Life New South Wales are not giving up, and we're not going away.
Right.
So this bill, as I said before, was not passed in our name. It was not passed in the name of the pro-life community. So we will continue to come out in our thousands. We will continue to come out every year here in Sydney, but also in other parts of New South Wales, to stand against this bill. We won't let the parliamentarians, the 85 parliamentarians inside Parliament House who voted for this bill, forget this at the next election. So we're going to become extremely politically active. We're going to send a very clear message that we will influence votes on this matter alone.
That's great to hear, Rachel, because it's a supremely important issue, and I commend you, Rachel. I think personally you're doing a wonderful job, and the New South Wales Right to Life Association and other Right to Life associations as well. And I know it's a very sensitive subject, but I'm very, very confident that the pro-life movement captures much more of the will of the people than any other movement to do with life. So thank you, Rachel.
Completely agree. Yeah, thank you. certainly we'll be continuing to advocate, we'll continue to fight, and I think that's been a problem in other states where these extreme abortion laws are being passed and then the abortion debate kind of dies down and the pro-life movement doesn't keep it in the forefront of community consciousness, and that's certainly something that we are going to be doing. We're going to be keeping it in people's minds because there are a lot of people who are very upset about this. We don't need to become overly negative. I'm very proud of our pro-life movement here. We came out, as I said, in our hundreds, in our thousands, to vigil, to rally, and we will continue to do that.
And in summary, Rachel, I would ask the question, do you think that New South Wales can do better?
I absolutely do, and I think also that Australia has a lot to learn from our bill. So the amendments that were passed makes it, as Kevin Connolly, one of our brave MPs inside, would describe it, as the best of the worst bills in Australia. So some of the amendments that we got, like children born alive being cared for, mandatory counselling in late-term pregnancy, specialist care, driving late-term abortions out of private clinics, these are things that we can also help the rest of Australia to implement into their laws to make them just that little bit better. Because even if we can save one baby's life, save the grief for one mother, and save the trauma for one father, that's worth it.
That's exactly right, Rachel. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you, David.
My pleasure.